Pepsi hired, which one is this? This is Kendall Jenner for her role in the Soda Giant's ill-fated commercial that was triggered even more to that. So Pepsi's already apologized, and basically in the nearly 3-minute spot, Jenner strolls through a crowd of protesters, plucks a can of soda from a frosty tub and hands it to a stoic-faced police officer. The crowd cheers, and then the tension melts away. Activists, basically accused Pepsi of trivializing the Black Lives Matter movement, which has over the past 3 years inspired demonstrations nationwide against police brutality or the unarmed killing of African Americans. And the protesters, they encountered tear gas, rubber bullets, jail cells, so on and so forth. But they thought that, Kendall Jenner, her ad would basically, Pepsi can solve all the world's problems. And what makes this even more disturbing is we find out from our friends at Mediaite the following. We found this out today. Is that the New York Daily News found the casting call for the upcoming commercial request, for an upcoming Pepsi commercial request. And it said the following. We're looking for a different mix of cultural backgrounds in all walks of life. It specifies African Americans, Muslims, Asians, Hispanic, transgendered, gay, lesbian, athletic, nerdy glasses, artsy alternatives, someone from the inner city.
Need to make sure you have this someone from the inner city demographic.
They want people to look approachable and real, which is a lot coming from a company that used an internationally famous model, and a bunch of placards marching with the signs they joined the conversation to sell soda.
Okay. So let's just start with the baseline here. So if you are the firm that created this ad, you have failed so miserably.
Let me say this one point, and let me say this to corporations. This is my message to corporations. I think the same message applies to the progressive movement. I think it applies to campaigns. When we make this argument and we fight for more diversity, right, in like boardrooms, in campaign, it's because of ads like this. Because if you had any real sensible black person, they'd be like, this is a really bad idea.
I mean, it was just so bad. So I watched this segment in preparation for the show. And it's almost like I knew it was coming. Like I said to Richard when I was watching it, I was like, she's not going to hand that to the cop, is she? And she hands it to the cop. Like, it's just so ill-advised that I knew it was ill-advised before I even saw her doing it.
And I mean, I think it's clearly a mimic. It's clearly trying to pull down on. I mean, I get the larger theme is that drinking America's best soda can bring us all second best because someone say Coke is better. Can bring us all to. I have no point. No point on that.
No preference.
But that could bring us all together. But it doesn't deal with how we got here, right? And which is why you should, when thinking about, just don't do it. Like, you were better off just having Beyonce singing in the ad.
Oh my God, it would have been fine, right? I mean, listen, it doesn't take much to create an ad for Pepsi that doesn't offend people, right? Like, there is a wide variety of topics.
And think about it like this way: Pepsi's ads are usually pretty good, and they don't offend people. They had the Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Pink ad. They had the Beyonce at the gas station ad. They had the Snoop Dogg. Like, they're really good at coming up with really good ads.
This is so bad. And here's the issue. And for some reason, soda, whether it's Coke or Pepsi, has historically tried to tie. Like, this is actually like a trope that you see in soda ads a lot, where like there's some kind of conflict or contention, or people like are at odds. Maybe it's a young person and an old person, and they hand them the soda, and they're like, we're friends now because we both love soda. This is not the issue that you can do this with, right?
And I mean, here's the thing. I think how you improve, like if you had made her African American, maybe it would have made it a little bit better, or Hispanic.
I mean, listen, honestly, if you had this exact same ad, and at the end she just drank a Pepsi and didn't hand it to the cops, I think no one would be offended. Right? The idea, it's just white privilege that it's crazy.
And what makes the tweets about it is even funnier. So, Bernice King, Martin Luther King's Jr.'s daughter, released a tweet saying, "Only if Daddy knew a Pepsi could solve a protest." And then she a picture of her father being arrested.
Right.
All my dad needed was a Pepsi, and the people on the Edmund Pettus picture wouldn't have got beat if they're like, "Here's a Pepsi."
Like, I just wish they could superimpose this ad with footage of the police brutality and protests all across the country over the last couple of years.
It's just a bad ad. And I mean, I think it's a bad ad because Pepsi didn't have the right people in the room thinking through it. Like, whoever put this ad together, who thought, like, oh, we should hire Kendall Jenner to do this. Like, I thought it would have been even better if they had hired, like, Laverne Cox, or Janet Mock. I mean, a transgendered woman. I mean, there's so many other things you could have done.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe the ad isn't as offensive, but like, okay, I mean, let's be real. Like, the Kardashians are symbolic of a certain type of person in our society, right? They're incredibly wealthy, they're privileged, they're white. I mean, don't get me wrong, they definitely work really hard, but like, you know, a lot of people work really hard.
I mean, they've had no real struggle.
Right.
Which I said, like, I think this ad, you would have done, if this was a whole bunch of trans people, I think this ad would have been more put if, like, you had a group of trans people and a whole bunch of old truckers, and you gave, like, you know, and they resolved their differences by having a pep. Like, I mean, you're not going to ever resolve the real problem. I mean, I thought that would probably been better, more tasteful than this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you did that, I think people might have liked that ad. That could have gone even into the spectrum of, like, oh, look, Pepsi doing a good thing. But anyway, it's an absolute mess.
Bad ad.
Pepsi actually had to apologize to Kendall Jenner, which
why?
is ridiculous.
I don't understand.
Because Kendall Jenner got paid, so who freaking cares?
People like, you should apologize to the people who drink Pepsi, who thought this ad was ridiculous.
Listen, Kendall Jenner and her people are complicit in this because they were aware of what the ad is, and they didn't say no thank you.